So Team Liquid managed to win TI13 and we've seen some insane support plays. So while my favorite player by far is White Moon, I think he played some insane semi-finals among with Sax and Insania, I can't not mention that Boxi was insane in the finals. In today's video, we will go through all three games and we'll see how Boxi managed to have some insane performances, especially in game 2. If you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Jeff, I'm a 10k MMR player in the Europe region, and what we do in this channel is we learn how to play the support role mainly better. Let's not waste any more time and go. So the first thing that I want to mention from Boxi is that he's an insane laner. We're gonna go through all three games, but the main factor that we have to take into consideration is that he managed to win all three lanes by utilizing the very fundamentals. If you don't know what are the fundamentals, I suggest you go and check out this video. So the first thing that we have to go with Boxi is that he manages to win every single lane. In the first and the second game, he played his famous Tusker, his signature Tusker, and in the third game, they last pick a Dark Willow, which I think he played extremely well. Now let's go through the first game. Now in the first game it's really interesting because enemies managed to pick a Rick in the last pick, which is a really bad pick when it comes to back. But Box actually managed to play an extremely well Tusker. He managed to save Nisa many times. But let's take them one by one. First of all, he takes this facet. This facet is extremely well because he gets into position and he can get his allies out of positioning. So Drinking Bodies is one of the best spells to go with Tusker. Now if you've seen all the lane stages very detailed, what he does in every single lane is that he manages to secure the Healing Lotus. How does he do that? Mainly he tries to trade really well with the enemy support. And how does he do that? Well, Tusker is one of the best supports to trade, especially if you're playing position 4, you really want to trade with the other support. And second of all, Tusker's innate is one of the best abilities to trade 1v1. So by trading favorably, he managed to push his enemies back, and then he has a free Lotus, which is the first objective in the game, and I highly suggest you guys prioritize taking Lotus because then you can make really good trades and even secure kills. Later in the game, you have two things to do, especially in this current meta. The first one is to be bulking up with any heroes, so you want to buy a couple of bracers, some people even buy 3 bracers, with pretty much all support, Tusker, Dark Willow, Clockwork, CM, and so on. And the second thing is, especially if you're playing Tusker, you really need to utilize Drinking Bodies and Snowball to save allies, mainly so you can kite enemies and delay their spells as much as you can. If you've seen throughout all the first game, Box is always on point. From the laning stage, which went pretty okay, and to the mid game, look how Boxi plays the game. What do I mean? He realized that the bot lane is pretty fine and he should play around his mid lane, secure the rune, make stacks. And why should he focus around the mid lane? Because Nisa was having a really hard time against Ricky, and most importantly, it's so important when you have bottle heroes to focus on securing the mid lane rune. At 6 minutes in, at 8 minutes in and 10 minutes in, the position 4 should always prioritize and helping the mid lane to take the rune. Later in the game, the plan is really simple. You want to pulverize your enemies, you want to make sure you're going to Drinking Bodies your allies to get them out of the smoke, and Boxi was always on point. It's insane how he was always delaying and always snowballing. But I think his biggest performance is on game 2, and this is where we're going to go in depth. So if you've been following the channel for quite some time, you kinda know the fundamentals. Watching game 2, look at what Boxi does in the beginning. First of all, he trades 1v1 as a melee position 4 with the Enchantress, because he trades really well, but most importantly because he cannot trade with DK because position 4 melee heroes really struggles to go into the wave and trade with the carry. That's why most position 4 like Clockwork, like Tusker, they try to trade with the enemy position 5, so they're going to relieve pressure from their offlaner. Again, if you've seen this video, you know what I'm talking about. And then he realized that, oh, this is not really going to work out. They have an Enchantress, they have a DK, they were applying quite some pressure, so he does a smart move. He's cutting waves, so he's going to relieve pressure from Bristleback. Bristleback is a hero that if you have some free time, then it's really hard to kill. And if you have an offlaner that cannot die, then I'm free as a position 4 to do whatever I want in the map. Now it's really important to see again one of the fundamentals, what I call 2v1 scenario. See how Enchantress all of a sudden leaves a lane and they notice that, wait, DK is really exposed, he's really far away and he's alone. So we can go 2v1, and of course this is exactly what they do. They are actually trying to force this DK while he's alone, bringing Mike with his Nature's Prophet, and they manage to find this first blood. This is by far the most crucial thing in the game, because it gives 33 first blood, so all of a sudden it's impossible to kill a bristleback that's far ahead with a Dragonite and an Enchantress. As a result, Box is free to do whatever he wants, and look what he does. He stacks, he rotates to the mid lane, he rotates to the bot lane. It's insane how a simple thing like, hey, this guy's alone, we can kill him, so I'm giving my bristleback first blood, so all of a sudden he's unkillable, so all of a sudden I'm free to do whatever I want on the map, frees the game so much. Makes the hero free to do whatever he wants in the map. And this is exactly what happens later on. Look at every single thing that happens right after. It has to do with the first blood in the top lane, right? The second thing that happens, if you look here, is positioning. Look how he sits beside the bristleback in the top tier 1. And then he realizes that, hey, nobody's gonna come to defend this tower, I will move instantly. He doesn't wait for the tower to fall so he can TP and make a move. No, he's like, okay, if they were to defend by now, they would have done it. So why don't I just leave sooner so I can just make a move? And this is exactly what he does. He teleports to the mid lane and smokes instantly to take a fight in the bot lane. Now, I really want to emphasize Box's positioning more, because I think it is almost flawless. Now, look at his optimization and his positioning. He realizes they are playing a 5-man strategy with a bristleback, with a Nature's Prophet, where all he needs to do is literally sit behind, use Pavice and Solar Crest on bristleback, and perform snowball plays by using Drinking Bodies. Since he has strong teammates, he doesn't need the dagger early on, especially in a 5-man lineup early on. The same thing applies with heroes like Omnight and heroes like Abaddon. They really don't buy dagger early on. If they need you, they are gonna do it later for positioning, but mainly they just wanna sit behind with good positioning and just kill allies. And this is what he's doing also as Tusker. He's sitting behind really carefully so he's not gonna get spotted, to be ready to buff them and save them out of uncomfortable situations. If you think about it, the only thing enemies have to catch him is Dream Coil, which is a really, to be honest, it's a really hard spell, because if you coil Tusker, then he can't really snowball. Surprising though, he did make a small mistake, or actually a big mistake, by getting coiled on the high ground, and as a result, he could not snowball save. You know, even legends make mistakes, but he realized that he might need a dagger for future snowballs, because Queen could actually blink and use coil on him and actually focus Tusker. Again, look at the positioning. The positioning is all about this when it comes to concept. If it's daytime, you really want to be behind trees all the time, around trees all the time. And when it's nighttime, you can just be a little bit more chill with the positioning, because nighttime still you have to hide, but you can just move a little bit more around the fog of war and more around the night vision, as you can see in this exact moment. Look, for example, right now, right here, how he gets to save the bristleback instantly for break. They realize that the Raichu has a Silver Edge, and all he has to do, the same thing as Insania has to do, is they have to delay the break from the Silver Edge, and I think Boxi and Insania are doing an excellent job by doing that, both with snowball saves and disruption. I think they actually nailed it. Lastly, I really want to talk about atomization on Boxi. If you check the enemy team, it's literally all about kiting enemies, survivability, and playing long fights by kiting opponents. Everything falls into place in this game. The snowball saves, the double bracers, the cracky code, and eventually the halberd in the bot lane, which was insane. Look at here what happens exactly. He instantly pulls back bristleback, he makes an amazing ice sword usage, and cracky code comes into play, giving him extra armor, and literally he delayed opponents so much. But that's not just it. One of the most basic rules is that a support never retreats. Look beautifully how he maneuvers and comes back into play. Boxi amazingly escapes like a god, but he's not backing off. He's using the nighttime vision, so he's going to maneuver and returns to the fight with no HP by doing this insane blink punch combo. This was one of the most fundamental support themes, and I think Boxi absolutely nails it and demonstrates that in this exact moment. And the last show here is, look how Boxi, with his many bracers, Solar Crest, and the significantly insane halberd, manages to delay Queen so much. The instant snowball into dagger out, and then Queen buybacks, tries to kill him again, and he's about to do that, but he gets halberd by so much time for Team Liquid. He literally hold puck for some insane 10 seconds, and in reality, when you're about to die, this is exactly what you want to do. You want to delay enemies as much as possible. I think in game 2, Boxi almost single won the game with his insane plays. But that's not just it. We're gonna go through game 3, where they literally just last pick Dark Willow for him, so you have some strong lane, Dark Willow and Visage. You get to play versus Dirach's Windrunner and of course my beloved Marcy, but this is a rough lane. First of all, look how instantly from level 1 they pressure Diracho and what he's doing on Boxi. He's literally chasing Diracho between tier 1 and tier 2, and this is what we call in Dota pushing your advantage. For example, it's not a problem if I chase you behind tier 1 if the health difference is so big. The fundamentals always stops when it comes to health difference. For example, if you've seen this video, you know about positioning, but the most important thing is that positioning does not matter if you have 100 HP and I have 600, right? Especially in the early levels that you can't really kill me 100 to 0, especially with the Marcy and the Wind Ranger, right? These heroes needs more level. The second thing is that 33 had some insane creep management and he managed to pull the wave back. So all of a sudden, if the creep wave is back to my tier 1 in the off lane, this is not a safe lane anymore. This is a safe lane for the Dire. This is a safe lane for Liquid. And look what Boxi does. Well, what would you do if you were a post 5? Wouldn't you abuse the extra space that you have between them and their tier 1 to just kick him out and just throw as many right clicks as possible? Yes. Of course you would, everybody would. And this is exactly what he does, because right now this is not an off lane. This is a safe lane for Visage. And look what Boxi does, he just kicks Diracho right now, and I'm pretty sure Diracho was pretty frustrated with the situation. In the meantime, I really want to emphasize that Boxi makes so many stacks in the triangle, constantly giving some huge lead for his team. Now, I really want to mention that positioning is a fundamental thing. For example, look right now his positioning. This is the exact same positioning that he had with Tusker in the previous games. He's ready to use Pavice and he's ready to use Terrorize to counter-initiate. Like previously with Tusker, he was ready to Pavice 33 Bristleback and use Snowball save. He hides behind trees and moves slightly forward at night. Once again, in the daytime you really need to hide, you can never get spotted. But in the nighttime you can be a little bit more luxury, you can be a little bit more careless, and you should be slightly behind your core that you wanna save. Later on in the game, he used some insane ultimate. He can be slightly aggressive in the team fight, mainly because he can get away with that. He has a Willow, he has Shadow Rail, and he can get to bait enemies to get jumped on, but of course, with Double Bracer and Pavice and Wand, he's really tanky and he just gets away with a Shadow Rail because he's pretty much untouchable. Moving forward, again, I want to emphasize positioning. Look at the daytime positioning at 20-minute mark. A parenthesis I want to add here is that Team Liquid, like Team Spirit last year, always prioritized Tormentors. This is really significant. In the beginning of the Tormentors, nobody really cared about that, and still there are many pubs that people just don't care about that. But as a TI winning team once again proves, Tormentors are really important, especially if you can get to deny the enemy Tormentor. So if you're playing in a team and you have some good support Tormentors, please, maybe you can convince your carry or your mid lane to, hey, please come take Tormentor, it's pretty nice for us. And lastly, look at this team fight, 30-minute mark is insane. The 4-man ultimate, the 4-man Terrorize just nails and seals the game on the spot. After this fight, there was no comeback for Gaming Gladiators. So, summing up, there are like 4 things Boxi did insanely well, and I really want to say them one by one. First of all, he won his laning stage. If you're a melee support, trade with enemy position 5 to relieve pressure from your offlaner. Once you do that, you really need to grab your Lotus. It's the first objective. Once again, watch this video. It's the first objective of the game. It's super crucial and you need to force it. If you don't know how, just push the wave or just watch this video. On number 3, it's playing around the minute 6 rune to help your mid laner take that bottle, put a rune in it and try to do something out of that. And lastly, the flawless positioning, understanding what the lineup needs from you. Maybe you need to blink in, maybe you need to save someone, maybe you need to play from behind, and be ready at all times to do that. At any time, understand who is the most exposed and play behind these heroes to Pavize them, to save them. Whatever hero you have, you need to do the exact same. Whatever hero you have, you need to act accordingly. Let's say you have Shadow Demon, you need to be more defensive. When you have Cloak, you need to be more aggressive. When you have Tasker, slightly more defensive, depends what enemies have, what your team has, and of course being able to recognize that. Once again, congratulations to Team Liquid. I think they absolutely nailed the finals. I felt like a TI speedrun in the finals. We haven't seen that, I think, since TI4, but definitely well deserved to all 5 players. GG, Raza, and I'll see you on the next video. Hey guys, real quick, if you did like this video, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, as it motivates us a lot to keep making these videos and these guides. And of course, make sure you check out our 6-month coaching program. It's almost guaranteed. That's gonna get you to the next metal, if not metals. The link is gonna be down in the descriptions. Make sure you click it and apply right now.